some of my Instagram story. I don't have that yet.
Yeah. All right. 5 seconds of silence. Spencer, we're live. Welcome.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming on. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
I'm just happy to be here. It's been a while. We haven't talked in a quick minute, Ryan. It's been definitely some time.
I know. It's been a while talking in one of these things. I know we've had our group chat being active. I heard. So are you? I need to get this out of the way. Are you drinking water?
I'm drinking seltzer. Yes.
Seltzer. Okay, stay hydrated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I heard. So you have a man?
I mean, yes, I do. It's long distance. We're gonna see how that works out, but it's been going well so far, and yeah, it's been great.
Nice.
Ourselves to Taylor Swift and Joe Alwyn because we're very private. I hate when I see people that like they capitalize on their relationship. Like that's not what I'm doing here. So
yeah,
keep things pretty like private between ourselves.
Yeah, I hate when I don't hate, but I don't like when like couples make their whole social media about the couples and about them.
There's some accounts that just drive me off the wall. It's just like the entire thing is just them like flaunting the relationship, and I'm like, dude, I'm like, keep that to yourself. Like there's a time and a place for everything. So
yeah,
we're pretty personal, but it's been good for sure.
Good. That's awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thank
you. Okay, so off the bat, let's talk about depression and self-harm. I did get a few of those questions that wanted people to talk about. Have you experienced like any what is your experience with self-harm?
Okay, self-harm, I never self-harmed personally, but I have many people that have. I was seriously depressed at a point in my life where it was like sophomore year of high school, like figuring out who I was. I finished my freshman year at one school. I was in such a dark place that I did a year online virtually. People don't know that though. I don't ever talk about my virtual year of online school because whenever you say the words online school, at least before Corona was a thing, people always were like, you mean homeschool? And I was like, no, it's not homeschool. It was like I had an accredited course. It was online. I was super involved with my teachers. It was just all virtual. So I did that for a year, and I was just in a really dark place when I did that. So for me, I had to take a lot of time to recover from a lot of the things that happened to me at my old school and a lot of the horrible. It's like there's just a lot to uncover. So, but yeah. A journey for sure.
What kind of steps did you take to pull yourself out of that dark place?
For me, part of the thing that helped me getting to a better place was putting myself in a healthier lifestyle. I was just binging food. I was just watching TV. I had no friends. I started telling myself, you know what, go work out, but not like work out to lose weight. I had to just like get myself in a better place mentally. And part of that was like eating healthier and working out. So I started to do that every week. And then, I mean, over the course of like the entirety of like 2018 and 2019, well, end of 2018, then throughout 2019, I lost a lot of the weight that I had on me. And then I just kind of found more confidence within myself. Yeah. And then I did a summer program and I met new people. I went to a new school, which was positive too. Mm-hmm. Although I passioned that a lot, but it was a positive experience for the most part.
That's good.
I did a lot of things. I just tried to push myself out of my comfort zones to change my life. Like it was not as simple as like changing my mindset. It was like changing what I do every day. And like every time I had a bad thought or a negative thought, I would try to counteract it with 3 positive things I liked about myself.
Like, I love that.
That's not me, because when someone tells you, oh, they love you, or they say how they feel, or they can gas you up, like someone can tell you all these great things about you, you're not going to believe it if you don't believe that yourself, you know? Mm-hmm. So for me, it was changing the way I look at other people and changing the way I look at myself. And instead of like looking to other people for validation, finding it within myself.
Yeah, totally. And it sounds like changing your routine.
Everything.
So every day you just started doing things different and change, because I think that's what happens with, I've experienced depression too. And in my experience, like when I go through those moments of depression, it's because I do get, not isolated, but I get stuck. You feel everything is, and it happens with Corona a lot too. When it starts to feel like Groundhog Day and every day is the same. and you start going through the motions of life, and it can lead you to a dark place when you do that.
It 100% leads you to a dark place, especially for the past couple of months where everything is so repetitive. It put me in this place of where I was like, this is giving me weird deja vu, but it's different where I'm not like depressed anymore. But it was like a weird comparison because I used to live my life like quarantine every day. I didn't go anywhere. I just stayed at home. It was miserable. Mm-hmm. So that was like the entirety of 2018 and 2019 for me until like I changed everything. So yeah, it's been, especially right now, it's important to focus on mental health. And more so, not even on body image anymore, like, because all bodies are beautiful, all bodies are valid. But looking in the mirror and saying, you know what, my body's enough, I'm enough, I am perfect just the way I am. And it's hard sometimes, especially when you're on social media and you see people that are just this ideal standard of beauty that you yourself feel like you cannot be.
Yeah. That's the downside of social media is the perfect image, and everyone only posts what is perfect in their eyes, or like they only post their best material.
It's hard because it's like you look at social media, you look at Instagram, and you're like, why are these people all perfect? Why can't I look like that? And then you start comparing yourself, and you go down this rabbit hole of you're constantly criticizing yourself, and why don't I look like this? And it just brings you to a dark place. For example, I'm rambling, but for example, the other day I was watching James Charles' YouTube video with the Sway Boys, and I was like, why are they all so fucking hot? I was like, I want to look like them. And then a couple hours later, I was like, Spencer, no, you're perfect just the way you are. You do not want to look like a Sway Boy. You don't want that.
Yeah.
Great TikTok, gross. You're fine just the way you are. You're good. Like stuff like that, like, you know?
Yeah, totally. I think it's about catching yourself in those moments, because I mean, I do it too. I'll be scrolling through my Explore feed on Instagram, and there's just a bunch of beautiful, perfect bodies, and it's like, well, I need to stop myself and think, okay, what am I looking at? Why am I looking at this? Can I log off? Can I go do something else? It's going to be more productive. And the thing, I like that you mentioned exercise as an outlet to help you, because I mean, again, all bodies are wonderful. All bodies are valid. But if exercising does help you feel better, just mentally, even just getting up and going on like a 10-minute run and getting the blood flowing and the sweat happening, like for me personally, that puts me in a better mindset.
I think it's like the idea of routine. Like if you have a routine in place, I'm going to go do this day or go do this that day. It gets yourself in a better mindset. Like I've been walking a lot because I'm too lazy to go work out and lift. I'm not going to go to the gym right now because like Corona is still very much alive and real. So like not going to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm going on like hikes and stuff. And that for me has been a good routine of just staying on top of my mental health and just walking, listening to my music, kind of like putting myself separate from like the world and just being with my thoughts, which is, oh, sorry, I'm getting a call. 1 second. Did that just cut out?
No, you're good.
Sorry. I can hear you. Yeah. So anyways, it's just like, it was this idea of just like staying on the right mental health, like being on this better track for myself, you know?
Yeah, for sure. When you switch schools, because I know you would talk a lot about on your TikToks, your Catholic school and your upbringing in that environment. Is that where you went to a Catholic school, or you had to leave out of a Catholic school?
Okay, so that's the whole thing. I transferred into a Catholic school as of this year as a junior. So freshman year at the same school I was always at growing up. After that, I was like, I'm out of here. This is toxic. Sophomore year, did the virtual school. And then junior and senior year, it was like, I'm going to be a senior now. I'm finishing it up at this Catholic school. Mm-hmm. So I go into a Catholic school. And people were always like, you're gay. Why did you transfer into a Catholic school of all things? It's honestly like the sheer convenience of it. Like it's 10 minutes from my house. It was easy. It was like, we everyone that lives in the area goes to the school, you know? So it was just like, kind of like, just go to the school, see how it is. And although I do make fun of the fact that it's Catholic and all the kids to me are super religious, and I'm sitting here and I'm like,
sipping the iced coffee.
Yeah, I'm sipping my Dunkin' Donuts, and I'm like, did they just say that? I'm like, what? And I'm like, I try to keep myself composed because sometimes I'm just like laughing my ass off in the corner. But it's been really good friends wise, like socially I've made like my best friends, you know? Mm-hmm. And there are a couple other like kids that are like DL, like queer and LGBTQ plus. which is great. So I have a couple of friends that are like also in the system that know how I feel.
Yeah.
And so we all kind of have each other, and socially it's been good. Recently though, I've been like cutting off some friendships because like people that are politically so screwed in the head, I'm like, we cannot be friends anymore. But besides that, it's been mostly positive on the social front.
Yeah, well, that's great, and that's good to hear that there's private schools and religious schools out there that are accepting and a good place for gay people or LGBTQ plus people.
I knew you were gonna say something about that. See, I speak really fast. So right now, as we're speaking, I'm keeping a record in my head of how fast I speak. I've always done that ever since I was like 5. I just always spoke fast, you know?
Yeah.
Whenever I do TikTok videos, you have to speak fast. They give you 1 minute of time, and you have to just like go, 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 go. So I just started getting into this habit of either saying LGBTQ plus, or I pronunciate the L like LGBTQ plus. And my followers just like rip me a new one, and they're like, Spencer, which is which today? Which one are you gonna go for?
So I love it. It's like part of the brand now. It's like you can put on merch. You could do stuff with it. Like,
oh yeah. My head runs right wild. I have so many ideas. So like, if my account gets to a place where I can do that one day, you bet. But right now, it's that place.
When you went to the Catholic school, were you out at the time, or when did you come out? No.
This is the funny story, Ryan. This is the funny story. I had my gay awakening in August of 2019. Like, I always subconsciously knew, but I never had the words. Like, if you said to me, you're gay, I'd be like, no, I'm not. And I'd be so adamant that I'm not, right? Summer goes by. I'm at the summer program last year. Have my first kiss with a girl. I was repulsed. I was repulsed to the point where I was like, I cannot do this anymore. And I was like, that's it. Looks like I like guys. It was like that simple. And I was like, this is problematic. And I was like, oh God. And then it was like a full like crisis where August I was spiraling and I wasn't sure who I was. And I was like having all these questions and like ideas come to me. And all the thoughts that I repressed ever since I was a child about being gay, all of them that I repressed just came back like they just came out of nowhere. So all these memories, all these thoughts, they just kept coming at me in August because I was letting them come in for the first time instead of like shoving them away. And oh my God, it was like this weird out of body experience. And it was the weirdest thing. So I was going into my new school when this was all happening. So when I went into my new school, I was just at that point accepting the bisexuality term because bisexuality is very valid. But for me, it was just like a stepping stone because I couldn't say to myself, I'm gay. Although I did know it at that point, I just couldn't do it all the way, especially at Catholic school. So I come out in October 11th to be exact, National Coming Out Day. Wasn't planned. I'll explain that in a minute. Come out as bisexual. Everyone's like, I gotta get the glasses for this one. Everyone's like, you're gay. They're like, sit down. They're like, Spencer, they're like, you're gay. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm bi. And then 2 weeks later, I was gay. So that was my process. And when I came out, it was really complicated because I was outed at my Catholic school. So beginning of the year, September, we're talking this boy, we're not going to name, we're going to call him Nate. His name is Nate, but it's not Nate. This Nate boy was very masculine, very DL, straight. I had a crush on him, like really had a crush on him. And we were like flirting briefly in DMs because I just like made the moves. I was being ballsy. And the kid like totally like led me on. And I was like, hey, I was like, let's go. I was like, this is great. But then soon enough, tragically speaking, that next week he had a full 180 and he was like, Spencer's gay, guys. And then I was like, but I didn't out him, but everyone already knew he was low. Everyone already knows that he's like definitely a closet case, but no one says anything to him.
Yeah.
He's really toxically masculine. Like there's a lot going on there. So then that I was a little kind of outed and that was rough. So then October 11th comes by and he apologizes that day, like actually apologizes on that day. It wasn't a great apology, but I took it. And then I came out that same day. I went to the beach with my friends, took some photos. I was like saying, screw it, I'm just going to post it. And you know what? The caption was really good too. It was a great caption. It was, oh, by the way, I'm thriving, but BI instead of bi. And I was like, that's subtle, that's funny, that's me, cool. Because I didn't want it to be too declarative.
Right.
So, although I did have like a phase where I was super like over the top. And like, I feel like that's a whole other thing we can get into.
Like, you were exaggerating your gayness?
I was gaslit for many, many months. And I look back now and I was like, wait, I was gaslit. I was put into this position as a GBF. Like, people wanted to be my friend just because of like, I was the GBF term, you know?
Yeah. You were the token gay at a Catholic school. Like,
yeah, that was exactly what I was. And it was like, people have this impression of me in my school that I'm like this over the top, super animated gay guy, right? But I'm really not that like animated. I'm really I'm really calm. Like I'm calm, but I'm very like loud at the same time. It's weird. But I was like put into this, I was gaslit to be just so like GBF. Like I was put into this like stereotypical role. And it was like, I don't know why I let that pass for so long without saying anything. I was confused at the time because I thought maybe it's internalized homophobia that I think that this is not how I am, you know? Because I was like, but I didn't understand what that truly meant. And I was like confused. So now it's like I'm in a good place where I know myself. It's much more subtle. I can be over the top, but I can be myself, you know? I felt like I was putting on a character, like almost like a mask when I went there, because it helped me conceal a lot of the anger and pain that I still had over the outing. Like, so being over the top, being animated, being super like just extra was my way of concealing the fact that I was still really hurt by the boy who outed me. So a month or two ago, my sister calls the kid up and she's like, you got to talk to my brother about this. Like, he's still pissed about it, right? Because I'm a twin. So my twin sister calls this kid up, Nate. And then we have a phone call like 2 months ago and we work out our problems. So we're good now. Like he apologized again, but this time he really gave a good apology. And it was just a much better conversation because it was much more open, you know? It was super awkward. He was like fumbling with his hands in the soccer ball he was holding. And I was just sitting there getting ready for my TikToks with like my concealer under my eyes, just like putting it in. And I was like, listen, I was like, two things. One, don't ever out a kid again. And two, if you ever say the F word or the F slur ever again, I will literally like punch you through the phone. Because he was calling me that when this whole thing happened. And I was so pissed, more so about that than the out. Like, I was just so mad about that.
He was calling you this on the phone call or in the outing?
Outing, like when I have like back. So I told him, I was like, look, if I ever hear you say those words again to anyone or on social media or just anywhere at all, we're going to have a serious problem. And then I briefly explained to him like what it means. And he was like, oh shit. Cause like a lot of straight guys in his case, they don't understand the meaning behind the word or where it originates from. So they don't see how toxic it is when they say it. So that was a whole talk I had with him when we had our conversation a month or two ago. But we're on good terms now, and I've had no issues with him since. And I have closure with it now, which is great. And I didn't have it for many, many months. So the closure I have now is just like,
is that person, this Nate character, is he taking steps to reconcile his own issues? No,
I worry about him. You know, he has a girlfriend. He won't ever see this. He won't see this call, but like, I feel bad for him because it's like he put himself in this position where he acts so straight, but he's really not. And there's definitely a lot going on there. And I feel bad for him, and I hope he figures himself out one day. Which is what I didn't tell him about on the phone because he can't really talk about it. But like, I've written about it before, and I'm pretty sure he's seen that. Where, you know, I just feel for this kid because it's like, yeah, he was awful to me. He outed me, but yet I still feel bad for him. And honestly, it's part of my life. It happened. Sometimes the darkest pieces of our past can be the greatest gifts, you know? The fact that I've come to that conclusion is really good because I've come a long way from it. But it was just a lot to handle at the time. And I hope he figures himself out because there's just a lot going on there with him.
Yeah, poor guy. You know, a part of it is like he empathizes with him, but another part is like,
I know how he feels. I was never in the position where he was, where he's so like closeted because he's like masculine. He plays like the captain of the soccer team, you know, like stuff like that. I was never in that position. I mean, I was that kid who would be dancing on the sidelines when we were playing soccer as kids. Like, and like, you know, I was that kind of kid. I wasn't the sportsy kid, and I hated sports growing up. Like, this kid has been indoctrinated into the system of toxic masculinity. So it's going to be interesting to see how he comes out of it and grows up.
How does your school like, what's the vibe there with that? Like, are the teachers fairly homo? Because I went to a private Christian school too.
This is actually the best news I've heard today. I have such a good news. Also, comment, I agree with it. Tim, Nate Jacobs energy. Yeah, 100%. Definitely Nate Jacobs energy right there. Where I can't really figure him out, but we all know he's not straight, you know? Okay, so my school, there's some teachers that I'm just like, they're the most supportive teachers in the world. My English teacher, love her. Me and her email all the time. She's like my BFF. I miss her a lot. She's the best. Spanish teacher, very supportive as well. She's an older lady. She's just the best. I love her as well. My other teachers really were indifferent to it, you know. The teacher that I did have problems with was my religion teacher, and she was a monster, and she was super like crazy about it, and she was just like a monster. But I got in a lot of fights with her, so I had to go to the office twice and had to handle her. So me and her had to sit down with like each other and the entire religion department head and have to like work out through our problems because I would literally fight her in class, and she got so mad at me. But here's the good news, Ryan. Here's the good news. Apparently, she's leaving the school to go join a convent. So I heard that an hour ago, and I was like, oh "My God, what?" So she's leaving. So I'm over the fucking moon. I'm so happy because I can't stand her. Like I don't. There's very few people that I really strongly dislike, but she's one of them. So I'm so happy that she's gone. Like she's out of there.
I had an experience with a teacher similar to that. I think he was, again, the Bible teacher at my school, and he would straight up, he was so old school. He hated tattoos. He thought tattoos, you're going to hell. But he would straight up say, if you're gay, you're burning in a pit of fire. And he would say that. And this was what, like 6 years ago. So like things are different now, I believe, but at least at the school. But it caused a lot of people pain. I mean, it caused me pain being a closeted gay boy. But yeah, it's just terrible that like teachers do that and they would harbor that environment.
That's toxic. Like,
yeah,
let that happen. Like, how long did that go on for?
I mean, this teacher was like, he was there for 30 years. He was at the school for 30 years, and that was just his routine. That was his, and the administration with everything going on, I believe the school is working towards being a lot more inclusive. They are listening to the people, but 6 years ago, like that was the norm. Like that's what he taught in class, and that's what every senior in Bible class got to hear.
Oh, so you were in the same position I was then. You were also in a Catholic school.
I was in, well, it was Christian. It wasn't Catholic, but yeah.
Oh, mine's super Catholic. They're like, they make you do like the mass every month, and they're like, they give you the wafers. I call it the magic cookie, and I got in trouble once. I was like, I call it the magic cookie, and kids are like, and I'm like, I didn't mean to say it out loud, but that's what I call it. It makes it funnier to me.
The magic cookie.
I'm like,
no THC in there.
I'm like, they're like, Spencer, they're like, the fuck, you can't say that. And I'm like, the magic cookie. And they're like, but yeah.
Do they hit you with rulers? Is it like that Catholic?
They can't. You can't get away with that anymore in this time. That's like old school. What is that? Like 70s, 80s? Like that's crazy. I'm sure they did that probably 40 years ago. I won't be surprised.
My roommate in my new place in Los Angeles, she's like a 60-year-old woman. She went to Catholic school as a child, and she was telling me they full on did like they had the nuns and the rulers, and they hit you.
We don't have the nuns. We don't have the. We got lucky there. We don't have either of those things. The nuns, the priests. We have a deacon. That's the closest thing we have to a priest. But we're not like that over the top. That would scare me. I would be super like Midsummer. Did you see that movie?
I haven't.
It's like this Norwegian movie. It's like set in the middle. It's like super like freaky. That'd be like, I don't know, like it just scares me. Like we're matching uniforms. Like it's such like an indoctrinated system. Like once you're in it, like then you're stuck in that system. Like breaking out of it, I'm sure it's hard for someone who's like put into it like fully immersed. But since I'm coming to the school as like an outsider perspective, as someone who's agnostic personally, I was like, are they like, what? I was like, what kind of drugs are these people on? I was like, are they good? I was a little worried. But it was definitely an experience, like such a culture shock.
The line between religion and cult is a very fine line.
Literally, it was like, I was just like, sometimes the question I'd be like, this is interesting. It just took me some time to get used to it. Like when I had to go to the first school mass, I was sitting there. I'm like, the hell is going on here? I'm like,
so what is the culture like at your school? Is it very like I'll just talk about mine first. Mine was very predominantly white, very subtly racist, subtly homophobic. You know, you're in the locker room and you'll hear homophobic things. There was a black girl that dyed her hair orange or red, and they sent her home and told her she had to change it because that's not natural for black people to have red hair. Is it similar to that, or is it more accepting?
I would say that it's gotten better since I've been there, because I've been like super strict with the school. Been like, look, I've been like, here are some issues you have to work on, and I was like, this is this and this. Like, I've been very open and clear with the school about how I feel, and like since like everything's happening this year, like obviously there's been a pushback. There's been a push against racism in our school. So I think towards the beginning of the year, especially, there are kids that have that vibe where they're like, we love all, but then they're going to slander anyone who is not like them. White, straight, cis, you know?
Yeah.
That's what you see. That's what you observe. That's from my experience, at least. So it was like, over time, I think that there's been like definitely a shift towards a better, more open attitude and mindset. One example of this is like for Black Lives Matter. A girl that I'm very close with started a petition in my school, and she said, listen, guys, our school should make a statement about Black Lives Matter and about how we cannot tolerate racism in our school system. A whole thing. So many of us signed it. Like, it was hundreds of signatures from alumni, kids in my grade, kids older, kids younger. So many kids signed this petition. And here's where I get into pushback. There was a pushback to this petition from other students. So from the right-wing set of students, they pushed back against it, saying how our school doesn't owe a like signed signature petition or anything, and they don't owe like a statement about Black Lives Matter. So then they made their own petition against the petition that we all signed, and that got like what, 20 signatures. It was actually quite pathetic.
And that's comical.
I'm friends with the kids who wrote both of them, like the one that for and the one against. But like the one that was written against it, it was just written poorly, and it was like almost embarrassing. And I was like, that's not good. And I ripped into a couple kids. I was like, so why do you sign that other petition? So that was like a whole thing going on in June. Like, it was like a battle of like super left and super right. So there definitely is a stronger sense of like people that are liberal and open-minded and people that want change and want justice. But then you have those rotten apples, or the people that think they know best, but they don't. Because either A, they're young, B, lack of education. There's a lot of factors at play. But then you have that whole sector as well. So there's two very contradicting big pieces here, I guess.
Yeah. Do you get like, do you experience any type of bullying for being gay?
Yes, I did. Subtle things. People would never be like to my face, like, you're a blank, you know? I had issues where people would use me for the GBF trope. To me, that was problematic. That was like, that's problematic. People be like, I love gay people, but then they'd be like, I love Trump, and like, you know what, all this stuff, and they'd say stuff like that. You would hear the subtle F slurs in the hallway. People would never say it to me, but they'd say it about me behind my back. I heard it. I'm not stupid, you know? One thing that it's also the glares of the eyes. People look at you differently. Everyone had their eyes on me. Everyone was staring at me up and down, like a, you know, like the look, like the
judgmental look.
Judgmental look. One example that comes to mind instantly is one of the most religious kids in this that was a senior when I was a junior. We're gonna call him I don't want to say his actual name. We're gonna call him Kirk, because that's like part of his name. Kirk was like, he's like known for being religious and for being like holier than thou kind of kid, right? He has a girlfriend. He was like homecoming king, whatnot. He's a senior. I'm a junior in this example. At Snowball, which is our winter formal, I was dancing on the dance floor, and I look over and I see this kid Kirk just giving me the nastiest glare, and he was just like, ew, like gross, like gay kid dancing on the floor, actually having fun and like actually grinding with people. And he was over here just like slow dancing, and I was just like, sir, like have fun. Like, I didn't say anything to him, but stuff like that, like the judgmental looks where people like look you up and down as if you're like being serious and as if this is really you. Stuff like that. That was like that's what comes to mind. But I've never had like incidences like to my face where people be like, oh, you know.
Right. That's good.
I guess bullying could count as my religion teacher. Me and her had some serious fights. Like, there was one example where she handed out this homophobic pamphlet in class, part of her like big good Catholic guidelines, and I called her out in the middle of class, raised my hand, and I go, this is ridiculously problematic. And I was like, are you saying that I am a sin because I am gay? And she goes, no, it's not what I'm saying at all. It's just saying like sexual. I'm like, no. I'm like, this is problematic. She's like, let's talk after class. I'm like, gladly. And I was almost like yelling at her. I was just so worked up. I was so mad. So I have this meeting with her after school, and she says to me, you can't ever speak to me like that. You can't ever treat me like that. And I said to her in front of the religion head, I was like, listen, if you're going to hand out homophobic, racist packets like that again, then I'm going to be just as loud and vocal next time, because that's problematic. And you're coming after me, and your beliefs are strongly different than mine. And you sit here and you say not to judge anyone, but then you give us a pamphlet saying how we should live our lives. I'm like, that's ironic. That is a irony in itself.
Yeah, literally.
So that to me was like that was like one of the biggest issues I had in the school, was fighting with this religion teacher, because everyone else was super chill with me being like gay and open about it. But this woman had such a, she was just like an asshole to me about it. And she would just like it was her glares. Like she'd be like, her eyes, she would never say it. And she would gossip with the students behind other people's backs. And it was like really fishy and weird. So cheers to her being gone, because she's going to go join a convent and probably become a nun. I said to my sister today that there was no chance anyone would ever marry her. So maybe this is the best option.
You know what? Good for her then. She's just going to go off and become a nun and stay single.
I don't know anyone who'd want to marry her. She's like just crazy. Like she is so mean. She's 23. She's 23.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm almost 18. I'll be 18 in like 3 months. This lady's like not even like 5 years older than me, and she's sitting here trying to boss me around, telling me like what's right and wrong. Like, sis, have you even lived your life before? Like, go live your life and then tell me what to do. But you have not lived your life. You are just as much a kid as I am.
Literally. Oh my God.
Maybe more so because you have not gone out and seen the world. You've been in the same town ever since you were a kid, not gone anywhere. Went to a really Christian, Catholic, conservative college that like is known for being like ridiculously problematic. Like,
yeah.
You have not had the life experience to be sitting here and telling me how I should be living my life. You should.
That's ridiculous. I was literally imagining just some lady with gray hair and a little bit of wrinkles.
Young, which is the crazy thing. She's like pretty much like Gen Z, almost millennial, like, and yet she's so like right-wing crazy. I'm like, where did she come from? I'm like, it was just like so bizarre to me.
Insanity. She's younger than me, as Augie puts in the comments.
On the last day of school, on like Zoom calls at least, I was just trolling at that point. I was like, JoJo Siwa. I was just pissing her off. I was just like, I was like, I think we should all quit Catholicism and go like worship other people, like JoJo and other people of importance.
Stan JoJo Siwa. Just put JoJo Siwa cutouts all over the lockers, like all over the school.
That's what I was literally pissed. I said that to her. I was like, we should just like actually like put JoJo cutouts everywhere and replace the Christ. And then she's like, that breaks so many rules. And I'm like, yeah, but like rules are meant to be broken, right? And she was like, it was priceless. It was great. I enjoyed it very much.
If only we could get some footage of you harassing this teacher.
Dude, there is footage of one kid that is like super right wing, but went off on her in class one time because like she was just making these awful like pro-life statements, and he's pro-choice, surprisingly, and he was just going off on her, and like there was a video of that, and it was so funny, and I just remember watching that video, and I was like, you know what? That's the first time I've agreed with this kid, and I was like, that's the first time. I was like, yes.
I love that.
I was proud of him. I was like, oh, let's go. I was like, okay, like, good for him. I was like, speak up. Speak your truth.
Period. I'm seeing some comments. They want you to talk about your experiences at your old school, the terrible.
Oh boy, that is a story and a half. Okay, where do you want to start, guys?
Let's settle in, guys.
My boyfriend's in here.
Oh,
he's in this comment section too. I just saw his comment. Yeah. Okay, where do you guys want to start?
I guess just like what. So you had this terrible freshman year. You had this terrible experience.
I'm gonna talk about like it was awful since middle school. Okay, so like elementary school, great times. Remember that. Middle school was fine. Middle school was bad for all kids. I think towards like 8th grade, it was increasingly apparent to people that I was more flamboyant and outgoing and feminine than other kids. So people just would like pick at me for that, like just like pick at me, try to find like soft wounds in me, like just like go at me. So like this is gonna go before high school, because this is what sets the scene for high school and like why it was so bad. because the kids that were in middle school that were doing all these horrible things to me brought this wave of like just like craziness towards me in middle and high school as well. So it's like the same kids, but a little different, but I'll explain. 7th grade was like when I first kind of like came to be like super feminine and flamboyant, and I was like just very not like the rest of the boys. I told this to my boyfriend the other day on the phone because he didn't know about it. But there was like a ski trip. Like, you go to a mountain for the night. You come back at the end of the night. You're not there. You don't stay over. It's a small mountain. You go there. It's like a school trip. You leave from school the day after school ends. You go to this mountain. Come back around 10 p.m. Your parents pick you up.
And you drive a charter bus, right?
So it's like a school trip, like a little like 5 hours max. You go and you come back. When that happened, I was like 13, and I was so excited. I go with my sister, I have my skis. It was like nighttime skiing. I was living for it. On the bus ride back, this is when I had my first like comment someone made to me that just really stuck with me. I was on the bus just sitting there, and I had this kid, we're going to call, can I just use their actual names or should I change it?
It's up to you. I don't care, but if you feel anything.
I'm not going to say their last names, and these names are generic and boring, so it's fine. So this kid named Eric comes up to me, and he's like, Spencer, are you gay? And I'm like, what? I'm like, no, I'm not gay. And he's like, yeah, you are definitely gay. Then his best friend Kellen is like, you're gay too. And they start like telling people on the bus, oh, you're gay, you're gay, you're gay. And they're going around and they're saying this to every people. So then all of a sudden, like all these fucking middle school kids are like swarming me. And they're like, you're gay, you're gay, you're gay. You're a blank. You are a blank word. Horrible words. Right. And I was there and I was like miserable. And my sister's like, he's not gay, he's not gay. And she was defending me. Although she knew I was gay at the time, but I didn't. So she was defending me, and it was really bad. And that was just like traumatizing. So we get off the bus. I'm like going to my car with my mom. She picks us up. I'm crying. I'm like, Mom, these kids all call me gay. They were saying the F slur, awful things. She tells the school. The school's like, okay, you guys can't do that to him again. Like, leave him the frick alone. It was like, as one does. I was a sensitive fat kid, you know? I was a small kid too. These were like popular kids, and I just felt really insecure. So I used the words, that's so belittling. That's the way I described it. I was like, this is belittling. You guys cannot treat me this way. Those same kids every single day of the school year would come up to me and be like, Spencer, are you feeling belittled today? How belittled are you feeling today? So they took my words from that situation and used them against me. And they would just come attack me all the time. So then in 8th grade, we're talking like a year later, those same kids, they were on the Kahoot board in class. You know how Kahoot? They had like all the boys in the class like change it to like say like Spencer is up on the Kahoot board in front of the entire class, and I just had it. So I get up in the middle of class and I say to these 2 boys in the back that did this for years, been treating me like shit, and like are writing Spencer is gay, Spencer is blank on the Kahoot board, you know, that's popping up in front of the entire Spanish class. I was like, fuck both of you. One day karma's gonna eat you alive, and you're gonna see like why being an asshole with me is like not gonna work out in your favor. So I was just like really like brutal about it. And I was just so mad. And then I broke down in tears and like walk out of the room. So I was 14 when that happened. After that, the school gets involved again. They're like, you have to leave Spencer alone. You can't like fuck with him, you know? But you know, it doesn't stop there. So summer rolls around going into my freshman year. I was at this point, I was really insecure. I was really beaten down. And I put up like a wall. Like for me, my wall was being ignorant and arrogant. So I was a very arrogant, very pompous kid. Like I didn't really know myself. So the kids that may say to me or may be like, oh, he was arrogant, he was annoying. Yeah, I was annoying. I was arrogant, but it was my defense mechanism because I didn't have anything to hold on to. I didn't have any structure. I didn't have any support. I didn't have any friends, let alone people to go talk to besides my mom and my sister. But even then, it's hard to tell them about these things because it was like, I don't want them to think I'm gay myself, you know? So I just kept it to myself, and I had no one to go to. So 8th grade is like ending, going into freshman year. That summer was really bad. My friend group fell apart. They kind of outed me. They kind of kicked me out of the friend group. So I was alone virtually. I didn't have any friends. And then those same friends started bullying me over social media. And house party was really big at the time. So I'd go on house party, right? Because that's like what we'd all do.
Like an app? I'm too old for this, I feel.
Yeah, house party's an app. It's like FaceTime. Like it's like, remember Uvu? Remember that was like a thing where it's like all like group FaceTime, like 10 people can be in one call.
Okay, yeah.
It's pretty much that. And then you have a chat on the side. It's like this, but like with multiple people. Like a Zoom call kind of thing, but in an app.
Okay. So
we're all on this like call together, and it was just like, or you call people, you kind of just pop into houses and stuff, like different calls. So all these straight guys would just come on there and just start attacking me. And they would just like berate me and they'd come at me and they'd bully me on these FaceTime calls. And then I'd leave them and they'd come in and they would, you can change the names of the calls too. So they would change it to like Spencer as a faggot. I can't say that, but like maybe Spencer as a F slur. So Spencer is this, Spencer is that. They changed the names of the actual calls themselves to have that title. And they just were berating me. And then there were Snapchat group chats that existed at that time too for like kids that are going to be entering the new school, you know? It was like Future, the school name, you know, I'm not going to say it. But anyways, they'd go on there too, and then they'd post pictures of me and like make fun of me, and they would tell their kids to do it too. So it was kind of like this gang up, almost as a gang mentality of like, let's all berate Spencer and beat down on him because like, you know, he has no defense mechanism. The only thing he's going to say back is be arrogant because that's all he really knows, you know? So it was just all these kids like coming at me, and it was really, really bad. And the peak of it was like these kids would come on, they would just like spam the F slur. They'd come on, get me alone, and just spam the F slur. My sister came on to one of them once and was like, "Leave him the fuck alone, or I will literally beat the shit out of you." And they were like, "Oh, your sister's coming to the rescue." But no, it's like I had no one to go to, and she was just like she realized what was happening and she stepped in because it was like, oh my God, it was just a mess.
Yeah.
So freshman year rolls around. I'm now this lone wolf kid. You know, that was my entire summer. That was 8th grade. That was 7th grade. Freshman year, I had no friends. I was sitting alone every day. And even when I'd go sit in the hallway alone, there was this lovely girl who would be like to me, "Oh, you can't sit in this part of the hallway. You have to go sit somewhere else. This is my part of the hallway." And she would claim the hallway as her own, and I couldn't go sit with her, and she would ignore me whenever I tried to talk to her and make conversation. So then
She's also a loner girl too.
Yeah, then she would like treat me like shit because like, it was kind of the mentality, just treat Spencer like shit. So it was like horrible. And then so then time goes by, time goes whatever, and then it's like it just gets worse and progressively worse, and people just like ignore me now, and I just didn't talk. I just stopped talking. I was like quiet. I kept to myself. I was really large, overweight, really sad. Didn't talk to anyone. Kept quiet to myself. And whenever I tried to talk or make one comment towards class or towards school, people would judge me for saying the simplest shit, like, "Oh, can I go to the bathroom?" Suddenly, it was like everyone else can say that, but when I say it, it was like, "Oh my God," make fun of him for that. Or I got assigned to be in a project with someone. They'd be like, "Ew, Spencer, gross." And it was just this horrible mentality, and I was just so low and so miserable. And kids try to justify it because they're like, "Oh, well, he's annoying," or "Well, he's just like an asshole," or "He's arrogant." But I was just so sad and broken. I just didn't have anyone to hold on to. So the last day of school comes and goes. After that day, I was like, I can never step foot in that building again. And I did once ever since that point, and that was a really dark day for me. Like mentally, it really put me in a bad place. But ever since then, I've never gone back in that building, and I was a mess, and I was just broken. And then I did a year online, so it was just so broken. I needed a full year to like come back into my element, and now I'm thriving. And now so the positive stuff, because I was really dark and I was really sad, and that was a whole tangent. Now I'm thriving. Now I'm happy. Now I'm doing great in my life. And I have friends, I have good family. I've been way better in confidence and feeling myself and being a good person. And funny enough, these same kids that treated me like shit are trying to be my friends now. So
we love that. We love
the kid who called me, who's like going back to 7th grade, the kid who called me like gay on the bus and was like, all that stuff. He texted me the other day and he's like, "I'm sorry." I'm like, he's only apologizing because what? I have a platform now. But it's just like, it's like whatever. It's like I said thank you and I forgave him because it's like I'm not gonna be a petty. I'm not gonna hold on to grudges. I'm just gonna let go of it. And I let go of a lot of these things when I came out. It was like part of me was like letting go of the past. And like, yeah, I'm always gonna have these memories. I'm always gonna feel the pain that I felt, you know, but I'm never gonna be back in those positions again. I'm always gonna be. I'm stronger because of them. And as dark as that was, that's my greatest gift because I overcame all those moments. I overcame the depression. I overcame my self-loathing, and I overcame all those horrible things. And karma is real, Ryan. It's a real thing. So these kids are going to get what's coming to them. And I told them that since day one, and I was right because like I've been doing great in my life. And I think that goes for anyone who comes out, you know? You see such a transition from like people that are like in a dark place to where they're happy. And I think it's not just like a me story, but it really applies to anyone.
Totally. And success is like the best revenge. That's what they say.
Yes, it is the best. So that was my whole tangent. I'm sorry if that made you guys depressed. That was not my goal, but that's my childhood right there. That's kind of like my whole high school experience. You wanted to know? It's out there. It's done. I said it.
I want to just make a side note because some people are saying like, "Oh, this is triggering me." This is. I apologize for anyone that is feeling triggered, but we want to have these conversations and tell these stories to be an example and to show everyone listening that, you know, a lot of us go through these types of things. A lot of us go through hard times, and that it does get better, and that we can come out on top, or even just get to a better place.
I would say this: anyone who's feeling upset or is feeling like really hurt or depressed, life does get better, and I'll make a living example of that. And my advice to you is this: always realize that after the toughest storms, there's always like a rainbow. Quite literally for us, because we're coming out as gay, you know. But it's it's like the toughest things can come out to be beautiful things, and you may not see that in the moment, you may not see that right now, but there's always beauty in the darkest times, and you can find that beauty when those moments are over. So anyone who's struggling out there, life does get better. We're here for you. We love you. I'm sorry if that was upsetting to hear, but we have to share these stories because vulnerability and being open is how you can grow as people. And it's important to share these stories to help other people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What do you think? Let's talk about like your confidence, because obviously, you know, you're so confident, so wonderful.
More positive topic, guys.
Yes, more positive topic. So what got you, what helped you get into that confident place? Was it just starting to realize your identity and accept it and then own it? Or what did you do?
Identity picking. So for me, it was like I was holding on to such small things. Like I didn't want to talk too gay. I didn't want to speak like this. I didn't want to look like that. I didn't want people to realize my sexuality when I was in the closet. Coming out gave me the opportunity to be like, I'm going to wear what I fucking want to wear today. I'm going to dress how I want, talk how I want, do what I want to do. And it was like finding body confidence as well, because I lost weight and I was like feeling myself more. And it was just like a combination of things, but the coming out and the body confidence and social media too, having the platform to share who I wanted to be and share my writing and be vulnerable with the world and have people react to it in a positive way has helped me become more confident in myself, because it's like, if I can share myself with the world, then I can share myself with anyone. So it's like a combination of things that help me grow as a person.
That's important. So you have a blog and you are a writer, right?
I have to update the blog. It's in need of an update. Cause like I have so many things I should publish and I want to publish. It's just like I'm lazy and I get nervous about it, but I have to just do it, you know, just publish more stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm a writer, and TikTok's not the end goal for either of us. I don't think, you know, for me, it's a method.
It's a way to get there.
It's a gateway, you know.
Yeah.
I'm using TikTok as a way to grow my platform for writing, and on Instagram. Once I have a large enough platform, then I can go do more things with it. Like, obviously, I want to sell books. I want to publish stuff. And my end goal really is to make a name for myself as like someone who can be considered like an activist and someone who can be a public speaker and all these. I just like, my dreams are just like so like out there, but like, yeah, TikTok's not the end goal for me, for sure.
I don't think it's the end goal for a lot of people.
No.
Especially with Trump threatening to ban it, then it's like,
it won't happen. But I was when the glitch happened that day on that Tuesday, I was panicked. I took a nap. I took a stress nap, and everyone was on their live streams. Everyone was saying goodbye. I was like, guys, TikTok's not going anywhere. We're fine. But it was bad. Remember that day? That was really bad.
That day was Armageddon. So funny enough, I was going into a haircut because I was getting my haircut for the first time in like 7 months, and I posted 4 TikToks back, like right before I went into my TikTok. I just posted them and then walked in. And I come out and they have like 200 views, and there's like everybody live streaming that's saying, follow my Instagram, goodbye TikTok, goodbye. Like, and I'm like, what did I walk into? What is happening?
Everyone really took advantage of the like, oh my God, go follow me on Instagram. It was like definitely like a good platform booster for a lot of people for Instagram. You saw so many Instagram people, like Instagram, everyone just blew up Instagram, like so many followers and so many new accounts. It was like everyone was just rushing to Instagram.
Yeah. And that's so important for people who do like any creator, me, Spencer, anyone else, follow them on other platforms. Just in case that like TikTok goes away or something goes away, like be involved wherever you feel, you know, you can.
Yeah, if you want to see our aesthetics on Instagram, go check them out. I love it. Yeah, TikTok. I like that comment. Ben's worst said TikTok's doomsday. Yes, it was traumatic. It was scary. I was like panicked.
I remember I walk out of the haircut and I text Luke. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why is TikTok going down?
It was bad. It was really bad. Oh, I want to put this comment.
Yeah.
Okay, imagine one of the kids at Bro Spencer just joins us. They can join it now. I'm not fazed by them anymore, you know? As horrible as they were to me, it's like, now I'm thriving. They can see this. I'm like, you know what? It's fine. I'm just going to be the very confident, very bold, Taylor Swift-loving person that I am. They can just, you know, if they don't like that, they can deal with that, but I don't care. So that's how I feel right now. It's like I'm indifferent to like the way they used to treat me, because you find peace with it. And once you find closure with it, then it's like, I'm like, you know,
when you find yourself and you find what's comfortable and who you truly are, it's amazing. Let's talk about, we mentioned a little bit earlier in the beginning of it, internalized homophobia and how you were exaggerating your gayness to fit in or to fit a stereotype. What helped you realize that you were doing things a little bit wrong?
Okay, so it took me like actually quarantine was what really helped me like realize this and come to terms with that. But one of the moments that just like hit me as I'm thinking back was like I did things like, or I said things that I would not usually say. Mm-hmm. Like my fluctuation in my voice was different. Like I really amped up my voice, changed my body posture. I changed everything to fit this character stereotype that wasn't me. And I thought that's what I was supposed to do. The GBF, you know, and the fact that I gave into the term GBF now is what really hits me. The fact that I can realize that it's like GBF is a problematic term. I think it's problematic. We are not accessories. We are not toys. We are people and deserve to be treated as people. Yet people love this term GBF. Oh, you're my gay best friend. Bitch, no, I'm just your best friend. I'm not your gay best friend. I'm just your best friend. Don't have to accentuate the gay in it, you know? Like my best friend says it. My best friend Gianna can say that because we joke about it and she knows how I feel about it. So she's the only one who gets to use that term. But anyone else who says that, it pisses me off because I'm like, look, I'm not like your prop, your toy. I'm not someone you just want to show off on Instagram, you know? I'm actually a person who just wants to be treated as a person, not as someone who is seen differently because of their sexuality. So for me, the term was problematic, and I came to terms with I came to terms with that more recently after stepping away from being in a traditional school setting and being online, and really sitting with myself and my thoughts and thinking, God damn, why was I just like putting on this performance to say, you know?
Yeah, you had time to think about it and to reflect on your actions and on who you really were and who you wanted to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. Can I answer this comment? Chris says, how do I stop people from friends joking about saying you're bottom because it hurts me? Okay, see, I used to be like this too, and this is internalized homophobia. People like to bottom shame, but like, look, be realistic here. It's not anyone's personal business what you do behind closed doors. It's yours and yours alone. Like, we don't have to tell people that. It's not their business. Mm-hmm. But if it's bothering you, and they're your friends and you trust them, I would be as simple as saying, like, don't say this, it bothers me. And explain. You don't even have to explain why, but if they ask for a reason why, give it to them as simple as you can. But communication is key in any situation. So communicate, be honest with how you feel. That's my best piece of advice for you for that topic.
Yeah, definitely. And so I have another comment that they want to know about self-body image. And so I guess, can you talk about how you had a great weight loss journey and you became more confident and found what worked for you?
Well, I can pull up a picture on my phone if you want to see some throwbacks.
All right. We're going to pull up a throwback for those that are watching.
Okay, this is me at age 10. How's that?
There it is.
See that? Is it focusing?
Yeah, you can.
I want to so bad. It's my favorite childhood photo. But anyways, back to the point. I was like a really chunky, just like really like big kid growing up, and everyone around me was skinny, and I was like, I hate all of you. But like my parents would use the term husky. I was a husky kid, not fat, I was husky, and that just pissed me off. I was like, you guys are. It just made me so sad. So if we're talking about body image, being positive in your body, self-worth in your body image, for me, it was like growing up and realizing that all bodies are valid. And one way of realizing this, because I still have my insecurities with my body, I don't like flaunt my body around, and that's because like I'm still not fully at terms with loving my body. Like I love it a lot more than I used to, but I'm not like totally like 100% with it. It takes time, and like some days are better than others. Today is better than another day. Like the other day, I was pissed about it. I was like, oh, I wish I was just skinny, you know? But it's all in my head. I have to say to myself, I am enough. So when you have these thoughts about how your body isn't enough and you're comparing yourself, I would say to shut out the world around you, just look at yourself and be like, my body's good enough. I'm good enough. My body's fine. Like, just try to validate yourself and stop trying to turn towards other people for external validation or to people to tell you your body's fine, because you won't believe it if you don't believe it yourself. I keep stressing that. So it's all about the mindset, I think.
I agree. It's definitely about the mindset. It's also about finding out what works for you. So figure out, like, if you look in the mirror and you yourself just are not happy with the way you look, then figure like do something to change it, but figure out, don't put yourself into someone else's standards. Don't be like, I have to have 6 abs. You know, figure out the diet and the exercise routine that makes you happy, or that will leave you with the freedom of eating the foods that you want and having the free time to work out at the pace that you want. And ultimately just figure out what works. Like for Lizzo, she's a bigger girl, but obviously she's crushing it. She rocks it, and that works for her.
She's a queen.
Other people, it might not work for them, feeling happy being that big. But figure out what works for you. And like, I'm no model. I don't have 6 abs, but I'm happy with the way I look, and I'm happy with it because I also I don't exercise for anyone else. I think that's a big thing. People will try to exercise for external validation from friends, from a boyfriend, from whatever, but only do it for yourself, really.
That's a big thing. Like, if you don't, I used to always try to lose weight when I was younger, but it would never work out because I was doing it for other people. And when you start working out for yourself, you start trying to make better decisions for yourself and no one else alone. That makes a huge difference in terms of like how you look at yourself in the mirror, and you're more happy with yourself because you're doing something for yourself for once, not for other people. For sure. That's a good comment. Can I answer this? This is off topic, but this is a good question. What happened with your old friend group, like friends during middle school and high school? I don't talk to any of them. Oof, God, no. I talked to one friend from high school, from my old school, who's my best friend still to this day, who was the only person who was there for me throughout the entire situation. Me and her still kind of debate though, like, cause like she is friends with those kids that I have never gotten along with, but I can't control other people. I can control who she hangs out with. So she may be friendly with them. She may not like them, but she's friendly with them. Whatever. It's fine with me. But yeah, I don't talk to any of my old friends. Like all my old guy friends from middle school and high school, God no. They were awful to me. They weren't nice to me. They follow me on social media, I'm pretty sure, on like Instagram, and I follow them back and I'll like their photos with them and their girlfriends or whatnot. But like I don't talk to them. And I did talk to one of them a couple months ago, like on a full FaceTime call, and it just brought back like some bad memories. And I was like, so I was like,
I gotta go.
I was like, great talking to you. I was like, bye. I was like, I'm out of here. But like, there was like one person I talked to, like, so my best friend from my old school was great. I talked to her still. My old friend group was toxic. It's really, really toxic. And I just like, I didn't feel appreciated at all. But like, there was one person in that old friend group that me and him used to hate each other growing up. I'm not gonna say his name, but his name, we're gonna call him James. We're gonna say, so for James at least, me and him we used to hate each other growing up, and we're like awful to each other. But then like freshman year came around and we liked each other more. And then I talked to him on a FaceTime call like maybe 4 months ago, and that was actually pretty nice. So I can't say I haven't talked to everyone entirely, because I did talk to him. And that was fun. That was actually a nice conversation to catch up and like reminisce about our lives and our past, whatnot. But like, whenever I do think about my past and like my old high school experience, it does bring back some bad memories. So it's not always the most enjoyable to think about, but that was a good call. So kind of bittersweet.
How do you deal with friends who end up being snakes and are homophobic, or that talk to you behind your back?
Okay, so friends, I cut them off. I cut off a friend a couple weeks ago because I was just like so fed up with quite a few things. If someone's toxic, if someone's toxic to you, they talk about you behind their back, all sorts of things like that. Cut the cord. It's that simple. And even if that makes problems with your other friends, I think it's not worth keeping people in your life that are toxic because they bring you down. Transphobic, homophobic people, cut them out as well. I think there is room for people to grow and change. Like sometimes people can come from a place of lack of education. So if you try to educate them and help them grow and they can't grow and they will not accept you for who you are, cut that cord.
Yeah.
I'm really rigid with that. And I just, cause it's like, I don't want to have people in my life who see me as an accident, you know? Like, why would I want to surround myself with people who see me as less or as inferior or as someone who is not good enough because of their sexuality and sexual orientation? Like, I just can't wrap my head around that. So I really try to keep myself surrounded with people that make me positive. And
period. We have to surround ourselves with people who are going to lift us up and be positive. Otherwise you're going to be in a dark place if you're always hanging around people who are toxic or who don't accept you for who you are.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
How about you? How do you handle people that are toxic or snakes or?
Basically, I was lucky enough that when I came out in college, my senior year of college, I came out to my group of friends who were very, very close with me, and all of them accepted me. So I was in a fraternity, and the fraternity was very large. The fraternity was like 300 people, and everybody knew in the fraternity once I came out. But I didn't hang around anyone else. Like I just hung around my core group of friends that ended up accepting me.
Pratt, I did not know this.
Yeah, this is a secret. So
what was that like?
It was what you could imagine. So it was a frat in the South at Ole Miss, and so you did hear a lot of N words, you did hear a lot of F words. It was just very that environment, that masculine, toxic environment. And I actually joined. The funny thing is, I actually joined the fraternity. And even went to Ole Miss itself because I was running away from who I was. I thought that, so here I was, a closeted boy growing up in Southern California. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm gay, but if I go to the South for college and, you know, go to all the football games and join a fraternity and all this stuff, then I'm not going to be gay, right? Like I was trying to method act my way and play the part.
Well, you tried to follow all the steps.
Yes, I tried to follow all the steps and become something that I wasn't. And the first 2 years in my fraternity was fine. Like I was able to, I don't know, I drank a lot and hung out. Like I was able to get through. I was able to go through the motions of this fake reality of who I was. But then once junior year came around, that's when I fell into deep depression. Just was like, I can't do this anymore. Like this is really taking a toll. I would just smoke weed every day and stay inside and like hang out with my roommates. I never really did anything. I don't know. It was terrible. And so senior year, I was like, I had enough of this. I have to live my true authentic self. And so I came out, and thankfully my true friends accepted me and were great. So
how are you? That's such a, I did not know that about you. This is the first time I've heard that you are a frat in the South.
I know. I don't talk about it too much on my TikTok. I don't.
God, I bet you have a lot of stories.
Yeah, there's definitely some crazy stories. A lot of nights that I don't remember. But that's how it goes. Do you experience anxiety? I think there's a question I want to address.
Oh my God, Ryan! Every day I'm seriously an anxious person. I've gotten better at it though. Growing up, I used to throw up whenever I got anxiety. Like I would throw up all the time, like everywhere. Like it was just a problem I had. I was like super attached to my parents. I could not let go of them. Like it was like really problematic. So as I got older, I got better with my anxiety. But it's like I work on it.
Do you experience it in social settings? Like, do you get nervous to hang out with people?
Not with girls. With girls, I'm fine. I can go up to any group of girls and be like, "Hi, I'm Spencer. Like, nice to meet you." Yeah. And it can work out. My hair looks bad. It can like work out really well, right? But with guys, especially straight guys, I get serious anxiety whenever I'm around any straight guy, and that kind of goes back to this idea of like I grew up with horrible straight guys around me. So when I meet a nice one, I'm like so surprised. I'm like not homophobic. I'm like that's a first. So to me, it's like that's very hard for me still. Like even when I go to get ice cream with my mask on, like yesterday, I was getting myself ice cream. So when I did like a photo shoot the other day, and I got myself like a massive scoop of chocolate ice cream after, I go to the roadside stand, have my mask on, and I just like I'm in my outfit, like whatever. Like I was feeling myself that day. I just see a group of straight guys, and I just got a lot of anxiety to be like, in the same like presence as them because I grew up around these people that made me feel so different and so poor about myself that it just like gives me anxiety to be around any straight guy at all. Like
yeah,
I'm
Well,
working.
it's triggering a wound. I mean, it's very valid experience for you to have that anxiety.
I'm getting better at it, but that's something that I do experience a lot more than that I don't talk about a lot because it's like I'm embarrassed about it. Like, why do I get anxiety when I'm around simple people that I don't know? You know, I don't. It just goes back to this goes back to my past, and it's just all like really messy and like whatever. But you know, I'm getting better at it. I'm working on it. I think that times are changing for the better, even considering like our current political climate being a shit mess. I'm like, we have to continue to educate, inform, help people grow, normalize the idea of being queer in society, make people not think of us as just like outsiders, but more so just kind of integrate it. And I think that will make things easier in the future for all of us.
Yeah, definitely. Do you ever go on Omegle? Like for
God,
fun?
no. Oh God, no. I went on it. I feel like I should go on Omegle for like a live stream. That would be funny, but I have not.
Do it. So what I did is you go under the because like on Omegle you can put in your interest or whatever, so it like puts you in certain groups. So you go under the Trump 2020 interest, and you just try to meet Trump's people, and you kind of troll them. Or what you do is you live stream on TikTok and you tell your followers that, so then they go under that same hashtag, and so then you find each other.
I feel like I should do that.
It's really fun. I did it like once.
I think Omegle scares me. I'm not gonna lie and say it scares me. Like
it does, and here's the thing: you have to be careful when you are live streaming TikTok to not show the other person's screen until like you're having a conversation with them, because if you just pop up, you're banned from live.
I did it with my friend once. We were outside our house, we had a sleepover a couple months ago. It was just weird. I was like, who are these people? Like, they're old. I'm like, this is scary. It was weird. I was like, I'm out of here. A lot of like pervs on there. So I just I am Omegle. Well, I ain't any younger guys out there. I would avoid Grindr as well. I don't think Grindr is the best place to meet people. So I would stick to more of a mainstream dating app if you are going to go into dating apps. But Grindr is not the move.
Yeah, if you're under 18, for sure, you don't need to be on Grindr.
Grindr's not the move. Don't go on Grindr, kids. I learned the hard way. Don't go on Grindr. Don't go on Grindr.
Oh no, you learned the hard. Did you ever meet anyone from Grindr?
No, I got like I was on it and it was just like weird people and it was just like, oh, so bad. I was on. Okay, so it was like I was on Grindr and then it was just like someone's like, oh, you're that kid from TikTok, and I was like, fuck, and I'm like, I'm out of here. So that was that. And then I was on Grindr once, and it was like it said there were people like 100 feet away from me. And it was like a group of frat boys, and I was like, wait a damn minute. I was like, wait a damn minute. Wait a damn minute. That was like a month ago. I was like a group of frat boys, and it said like there's like multiple people popping up on my screen that were like all near me, and I was like, wait, it's all of them over there. So I was like, this is just not it. I was like, this is like not it. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna get off this app now. So I haven't been on the app since. It would freak me out.
Or you just get those random pictures from 47-year-olds, and it's just really gross.
They're like super old. They're like, hi. They're like, my friend and I want to meet you and like go on a date with you. I'm like, no, we're not gonna do this. We're not gonna do that. I'm like, I'm looking for love. I'm like, we're gonna not do that. It scares me.
All right. So how do you? So I'm just gonna address this one question. How do you deal with your panic or anxiety from seeing the straight people?
I honestly, I've gotten better at it. I just like literally suck it up. I try to like I try to get more confident. Like I try to look confident, try to feel confident. Because I feel like if you look confident, then you feel confident. So I try to like pull my shoulders back. I try to make myself like, I try to focus on something else. Like I'll go on my phone. I'll try to distract myself. I just do anything to not really draw myself attention to those people. Because it's just like, I don't know. It's just like, for me, it's just like, I don't want to think about it. So I just try to look more confident and just try to like look like I'm minding my own business, like not even giving them the time of day.
Yeah.
That's what I do for me. Like, especially the other day when like some simple things like getting ice cream. It's like, fuck, it's like, why am I nervous about that? You know, when there's a bunch of straight guys like right there, especially when they're staring at you too. It's like, why are they fucking staring at me? It's like, don't stare at me, please. Like, I don't know. I just have anxiety over like that. It just like freaks me out.
Yeah. And when I experience anxiety, I think one of the best things that helps me is to breathe. And that sounds so cliche, but just stop. Just try to meditate. Just take 10 seconds to breathe in, hold it, breathe out, and then change your mindset and remember that like what you're worried about probably isn't going to matter in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, for me that helps. I think that putting it into perspective, breathing, focusing on one thing at a time, that helps you like calm yourself down.
for sure.
It's like such like a process, you know, it's just never ending.
Yeah. Well, this was fun. I really appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me again. This has been great. I know the last live stream we had was just like a total chaotic mess because it was just like there was so much going on, and it was just, like
that was when Laurie Skoll got arrested.
We were all panicking. That was a rough time. I mean, like
that was
this 2020 has been an ass year, but like, yeah, that was ridiculous. That was crazy.
It's been great for a lot of people. Like I mean, just for like people really blew up on TikTok over the quarantine. Like a lot of people
really work. I've been cranking out content. I've been like on it. I've been posting like 4 or 5 times a day. I've been like really on top of it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of your TikTok and your social medias, where can people find you?
Okay, so my Instagram is squiddy, SSQUITI, and my TikTok is gay.
I love it.
Weird username, but I love it. I love gay.
Okay. And then what's your blog?
My blog is under gay.com.
gay.com. I love that. The gay thing, that's actually gonna it's gonna be iconic. Like you could literally make merch gay, and it's like I don't know, it makes sense. Like it's your name, but also like it's funny and it makes sense.
It's not in your face. Like gay is just like there. Like it's just like so then like we'll see where gay goes, but I'm working on it. So if you guys are not, go check out my content. I'd really appreciate it. So
awesome. Well, I appreciate you for coming on, Spencer. It's always fun talking to you. And thank you everyone that was listening and that's here. I love you all. You all are so beautiful. Augie, I'm not letting you out of the basement. You're staying there.
In the comments, I'm like, how do you reply to that? I was waiting for you to say something. I was like,
no, they do that all the time. If you look at my comments on TikTok, there's usually something that says, let me out of the basement.
I love it. Okay. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Have a great night.
You too. Peace.
Bye.